I want to talk to you guys real quick about how to get a good deal on a flight within the U.S. And first of all, I would always suggest to go on one of the regular websites before you go on these. These are basically for your last minute flights. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. But always try and book in advance. If you can book in advance, you can go to a regular airline like um, American, United, or Delta. You can even go on, look on one of the massive searches, and then also go on their specific website and check it there. And then sometimes you can find different times that are available on their websites that are actually more ideal. If you have flexible time that you can go on their actual websites, you can find they have the best. American and Delta have probably the best online websites for looking up your flight if you have advance notice. But if you run out of options and you're in a city, say for instance, and you don't have a full 7 day advance and you need a 5 day advance flight, I'm going to show you a couple of options. And the reason I'm going to show you, I usually try Frontier first, but sometimes they have only a red eye flight, and sometimes it has like an 8 hour layover or overnight layover or something like that. You don't want to deal with that, okay? So the other option is Spirit Airlines, but there's some major disadvantages to Spirit over um, Frontier. So I'm going to talk to you about how to get the best out of your Frontier Airlines, um, and when you go on here. When you look up your flight, they have something called some of the club type of thing. It's I don't know what it's called, something Bear Club or whatever. Sometimes the Bear Fair things or whatever. Those things actually can help you out a little bit if you're going to book multiple times in a year with Frontier. But you always want to choose. They have on their thing. Let's look it up real quick. Yeah, it's called the Discount Den, and so you can, but you got to pay for the membership. I think it's $59 a year or something like that. And then when you select this, it's going to ask you something about. I'm just looking on here. You select a Discount Den, join today. Right now, I'm not a member of it, but so you want to go to this thing here where it says bundles, and I'm just going to talk to you guys about this. These are options that you can use. So if you use these bundles, they have a fare that's actually, if you choose the bundle, you get the seat up in the front of the plane. You get, which is wider than the regular seats. You get your bags are checked for free, and you includes your bags. So you end up paying like $100 or something like that, or $75 a leg more. But what you get is you get a refund, and you also get a refundable fare. So a fully refundable fare. So, if you go on like American or something like that, you're not going to find something like that at all. So this is one of the things you can use to your advantage with Frontier. So you might have to drive a little bit to go to the airport, because it might not be in the city that you want it to be in. But usually they have one that's not, within a couple 100 miles or 100 miles of where you live or where you're going. So I've actually used this, and they actually have really good short notice fares. So it's just a nice little option. Want to check it out. You want to take advantage of that. The airline, the planes are pretty new. The service is full service, just like any other airline. Maybe it's a little bit less than regular airline, but the seats do recline, and all that stuff. It's a regular flight. It's not going to be some fly by night little crappy thing like the next option. So um, they also have Spirit Airlines. Now you might see, you've probably looked up some things. I have a review on Spirit Airlines. Um, the seats do not recline on any of their flights. Keep that in mind. But the seats are shaped a little bit different so that if you're tall, a lot of times when you sit in a seat, even at American Airlines or United or any of the big airlines, the curvature of the seat goes up and then it turns, and where it turns for a person who's tall with a tall torso like me is it turns way too early, so my shoulders are up into this, so I'm always leaning forward. On this airline, it actually was up just a little bit higher so that I didn't feel like I was leaning forward, even though the seat didn't recline. It was actually somewhat more comfortable than the other seats that I sat in. So, I'm not going to say it was better. It's definitely nothing like a first class flight on Delta. I would say is probably one of the best first class flights. Um, but, for a cheap option, it wasn't too bad. Now, the thing which you'd want to do on here is you want to get the package again. So I just looked up from Los Angeles to Chicago O'Hare on a 24-hour advance notice, one way. It's only $340. Now, I bet you anything I could probably beat that on American Airlines website, but you don't know. Sometimes, you would need at least a 3-day to get that kind of a rate. Or, one of the other airlines that's their hub. So that isn't that great, but some of the flights, are actually really cheap. But what you want to do with this airline is you may or may not want to be in the $9 fare club. It might pay if you're going to fly more than once, or if you're thinking you might, to join that. But this one doesn't even have a $9 fare club fare, so it doesn't really help. But you definitely want the baggage package, and I'm trying to find it on here. I forget what it's called. Let's see if it shows it real quick. Right here. If you're going to check any bags, you definitely want the Thrills combo, because they charge you for everything on this airline. They charge you if you don't check your bags on the computer. They charge you more at the gate. They charge you $10 if you don't use a check-in on their website. They charge you if you pass gas in the airline. No, I'm just kidding. But they charge you for about everything they can possibly charge you for. So you need to make your deal right here. So this is where that $9 fare club might pay off, because you pay the extra $9 fare club and you get this at a discount. So, and I can't remember if it's it's each person. I thought this might be a package deal for a family or something like that. I thought there might be fine print in there for that. But read through it and look at it as an option. Remember, your seats are not going to recline. They do have this other thing, though. They do have an option for a big front seat, and it's really not expensive. Let me see if I can show you that. So it shows here that I'm a $9 Fare Club member. I just joined it just in case I have to use it again. Not a big deal. It's a tax write-off. So anyway, just make sure that if you do this, or you can go with the other route, which is send your bags in advance. Use a place called Lugless or one of those. If you've looked at, they have a baggage service where it's basically they UPS your bags to the location where you're going, and then you actually UPS them back home, but you need to send them out 4 days in advance. And it's like $70 to have your bags already there at the hotel where you're going to. So that's another way you can beat their system of charging the extra money, and you can go for the really cheap regular fare and not go for the bear fare and no extras. Do you remember that drinks, even water, other than, they'll give you some kind of tap water, but if you want bottled water, anything like that, I mean, those are like $3 for a bottled water, The, like sodas are $3. They have packages, but they totally suck. I mean, $4 for a bag of chips. It's really expensive to buy food on there, and they do not have regular meals. So if you want a sandwich or something like that, they don't have it. Where, if you go on like American Airlines or United, you can actually buy regular food if you're on a coach flight, which I don't usually do. If I'm on those flights, I'm going to be in the first class section myself. Normally, if I can do it. It just depends on, sometimes I have to take the business class too, and very rarely I'll ever take coach. But if I'm going to fly one of those airlines, because if you get an advance fare and you get it right and you figure out how to buy it through the system, and go on their website and not go on one of these, travel sites, go directly to their website and look at the options of the other fares. Sometimes you'll find a really good deal on a first class flight there. So anyway, I'll talk to you on the next video, and please like, share, and subscribe.